The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. I represent Bahamian people. I from Nassau, Bahamas, big up Baytown, bro. Where I from Baytown, bro. Right between West and Augusta, where them two roads meet, they call it Wilkinson Street. Manners and respect was like a sign blank check. It seems the ones that coming after quick to disrespect. You see, this life in the ghetto never easy. So many hungry days break till it grieve me. Way I doing the best I can, trying to turn my dollar to 100 grand.
Good night and welcome to Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Telephone numbers tonight are 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. I'm Valentino Brown, a.k.a. Scrooge, MP, JP. And it's a pleasure to be your host on this wonderful Friday. It's the holidays. I know most of us now, realize the true significance of the holiday, and many people are saying now it's pagan. But, a lot of people are moving away from it now, but we still try to share some family time together. We still exchange gifts. But if you notice around the country, you would not see a lot of lights and a lot of Christmas trees as well around the country. A lot of people are not buying so many gifts and etc. because, like they said, they are finding out the true history. But nevertheless, people are still, trying to enjoy themselves best as possible, which is A-okay. But, just like to say, hope that each and every one of you going into this year, your lives to be a lot changed, more prosperous. Your mindset will be thinking more about how you can better yourself instead of worrying about people's business. Focus on how you're going to improve yourself. Focus on how you're going to work on your relationship. Something that is positive that's going to be very beneficial to you. So stay over the negative. Stop worrying what other people are doing, and try to focus on yourself, and stop trying to bring down other people. Instead, find the faults in yourself and then make yourself a better person, and then the blessings of the Father will come to you. So today's show, we're going to talk about MPs, both on the opposition side and the current government side. So I just want to say thanks to everyone who listens to Inside the Inner City that premieres every Friday at 6:30 to 8 p.m. on Guardian Radio. I've had the opportunity to have a voice in the country that resembles each and every one of you. The topics that I have on the show are actually real life, life-changing, informative. There are many solutions. I'm not a talker, I'm a doer. I'm actually doing this stuff I talk about on radio. I'm applying them in my community, and I use the airwaves as to inspire others to go and make the right choices, make the right decision in the country. So I'm also doing it abroad, or also doing it internationally, when it means I'm using the airwaves to spread the information and the experience and the solutions that we are achieving in our community to spread around the country for those who are learning knowledge and how we can change the country and what's going on in the country, and then look at that from a whole different perspective. Then we'd understand why we're in the position we're in today, and then we'd find the solutions to make changes in the country. Yeah, so today we're going to talk about MPs, and how MPs are supposed to perform and how the opposition is supposed to perform. I'm going to do my best to interpret some of the things that I am expecting. All right, and this is not necessarily has to do with your opinion, but you could call in and give your opinion on the matter because it's an open discussion. Okay, just recently I was listening to a comment made by the current Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, the Honorable Philip Brave Davis, who as his third year as Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, but he also served as Deputy Prime Minister for 5 years under the former Prime Minister of the Bahamas, the Honorable Perry Gladstone Christie. So Mr. Davis has actually served about 5 years as Deputy Prime Minister and then 3 years as Prime Minister, so he's well experienced in his decision-making in the country. And just recently, circulating in the media, he made a comment concerning his party. And his comments were that we have to stop the infighting and start to unite, because the opposition party, which he's talking about, the Honorable Opposition Leader Michael Pintard and Dwayne Sand, are really putting on a real good performance when it comes to corruption allegation being made against the government. And the Prime Minister was saying this because it seems like inside the organization, the Progressive Liberal Party, even though Brave Davis means well in his party to make sure that it's stabilized and that he can please everyone. Well, in these parties, people, you're not going to please everybody. Listen to the conversation going around the country. It concerns the Deputy Prime Minister, Chester Cooper. Caller, you're going to have to hold on because I didn't even start the topic yet. Concerning the Deputy Prime Minister, Chester Cooper. Now, I'm no fan of government, but I respect when MP is doing what he's supposed to do for his community. And there's advantages of being a Deputy Prime Minister as well as the Prime Minister. There's advantages over junior minister like one Mr. Watson, for instance, who is in being a grandstand, who has a very vast, bigger community than Deputy Prime Minister Chester Cooper. In the Baintown community, we say about 15,000, 20,000 people voted in the last general election, I guess. But in a community that stretches from Government House to Wolf Road and then all the way to Super Value on Nassau Street, you're talking about a population close to about 40 to 50,000 people. And he has a small sniping of $150,000 per year to help and assist the community, which to me is a slap in the face, because I think $150,000 only get up to 4 or 5 people, probably 10 people the most. Based on the cost of living, Bahamas is one of the top 10 most expensive places to live in the world, when we are one of the richest as well. So it's a disadvantage for an MP such as Mr. Watson, But anyway, there's circulation that certain senior politicians inside the party don't approve of Chester Cooper being a Deputy Prime Minister. I think they disapprove of him because of the works he's doing in his constituency, where he's doing extremely great as the Minister of Tourism overall for the Bahamas at large. But in his constituency, he has made great development as far as a hotel and encouraging the community residents to get themselves involved in small business, getting Airbnb because of the influx of guests that is going to be created coming to the islands, like Zoma Keys and et cetera, with the development. And he is doing an A+ job, but overall, like I said, he has failed to do that same program in Nassau, New Providence, and other family islands, because, like I said, he has the access. He has the advantage over a junior minister. For instance, if he needs customs, he could easily get it done with a snap of a finger. If he need immigration, if he need BPL, if he need the Minister of Finance, Ministry of Finance, if he need to get things done at a fast pace, he can do it, because as a Deputy Prime Minister, as the number 2 man in the party, he has access to all the ministries. Whereas a junior minister doesn't have access. He can't really get nothing done. He'd have to beg and beg, and if that person don't like him, even though he could be a party official, and he feel that the minister is going to overshadow him, he will not give that minister an opportunity to really develop in that community and really change that community. I know this personally, people. I work with former Prime Minister, late great Celinda. I work with incoming Prime Minister Perry Gladstone Christie, who me personally help, along with other guys, to become the prime minister of the country. And I've also given my input to many different political parties over the years on how and what needs to be implemented in order to win the election. Both parties have won the election based on the ideas I've given them. Trust me on this. But anyway, it seems to me that some members feel that Chester Cooper should just succumb. They feel that they know that if the PLP was successful or unsuccessful in winning the general election, the next man would be, for the runners-up, would be Chester Cooper. For me, Chester Cooper has been a member of the Progressive Liberal Party for some time, but he's now been a forerunner. He can't overshadow a guy like Fred Mitchell, who's the chairman of the Progressive Liberal Party, because Fred Mitchell has been around Perry from St. Linden, Pinland. So he has seniority in the party. So some people like Fred Mitchell, who doesn't want to be prime minister, but sometimes ego comes in the way and they see progress. I'm not saying Fred Mitchell, but other members of parliament who are part of the party sees this as an opportunity. Now they're jealous of the strides that Chester Cooper has made. Now he's the forerunner after Brave Davis to become leader of the party, and probably someday, if they lose this election, or even if they lose it, he will be the forerunner to be the opposition leader, or forerunner to become the leader of the Progressive Liberal Party, whether it's 5 years from now or 10 years from now. And many people in the party feel upset about that because they feel that they themselves, who have been there for 50 years, should not see a newcomer like Chester Cooper overshadow them. So now there's a lot of infighting inside the party door for the Free National Movement, who is doing an extremely great job now. I mentioned some time ago, year before last, that at the current state, when the PLP looked that good at the beginning of the first 2 years, I said that, they stand a chance of winning 2 terms, probably even 3, with Brave winning 2 and probably Chester Cooper. Well, you could throw all that out the window now, because now it's being a complete nuclear bomb is being dropped with all the corruption, with allegation, and they feel that the Prime Minister's failed to act in a timely fashion. They feel that the Commissioner of Police himself has lied to the Bahamian people, and he has failed to act in a timely fashion based on his statement. And even though the Prime Minister himself is a good man, but with all this corruption coming under his government, people normally take it out on the leader. And with the current state right now, with high infiltration, the cost of living, and et cetera, and then with this corruption, Bahamian people would remember the party for these specific incidents concerning national affairs. And when we have persons like Fred Mitchell, who are always defending the government, even when the government is in the wrong, still trying to say that, this is not going to affect us and that is not going to affect us. It might not affect you. Understand, because you're a millionaire. You got health care. You don't have to go to the Princess Margaret Hospital. You don't have to worry about no lawyer. You don't have to worry about none of these things, because somewhere down the line you have someone you connected with in all of these different organizations that would come to aid me and the thousands of Bahamians out there who are just citizens who vote for what's right and what's wrong in the country. We are at a disadvantage, but you are not in our opposition. So when you speak, you understand, you're not speaking for us, you're speaking for your party and your party members, because the Prime Minister just stated that you as an organization needs to put the differences aside, because the Free National Movement right now is gaining traction, and that if we don't pull together, they're looking for us to help in fighting. Which, besides in fighting, you have a national disaster with the corruption. And the thing is, thousands of Bahamians had their speculation on some of the matters concerning the beliefs, but not the politician. You say the politician corrupt, stealing up all the money and signing contracts and doing these deals and getting all these companies to come and work these deals and give them, this and that, but you get a little cut on the side. But far as the drugs and guns now, there's a whole can of soup just open. And far as they're concerned, even though the Prime Minister is a good man, they're pointing their finger at the Prime Minister, just waiting for the bell to ring. And I think this is going to be the decisive leading to the general election and how people vote, because people are going to reflect on how the government handles these corruption from Johnson to the officers before that and many others that has arise lately concerning Curtis, defense officers, police officers, now allegation of politicians. And then we're seeing a serious drug box in Auckland and certain places. And, and then we have Fred Mitchell, like I said again, he always defending the party. Why y'all people don't respect the Bahamian people? Why when y'all in the wrong and people in the wrong, y'all didn't just admit it, even though we're Bahamian. But if you're in the wrong, don't defend it, because when you defend it, you just getting things voice, you making it voice for the Prime Minister of the country, representative of the Prime Minister, Mr. Mitchell. But you now always trying to defend something that is wrong when we, the 400,000 Bahamians here and the million or two out there who are Bahamian descendants and people around the world know what's going on is actually wrong, and you are trying to dictate to us and speak to us like you know that your party is always right. So you dig in the party in the grave. And Mr. Davis, I can tell you this now. People is going to judge you on your judgment because you're the head. You're the head of the police. You're the head of the party. And you're supposed to be head of the country. And it seems to me you're dealing with the party and you're dealing with the government, but you're not dealing with the general public 100%. And if you don't watch out, you'll get a blowed win at the next general election, even though it's beneficial to whoever wins the political party, because it benefits you guys more than it benefits us. But we only have our say around general election because we don't get no contracts. We just citizens who the only thing we can do is when we know what's right and what's wrong, and we feel that that is the only thing we can do, and that's the only choice we have to do. Because many people say, you have other choices. Yeah, we might have other choices, but sometimes we vote because it's the right thing to do. I mean, we might not get nothing out of as citizens, right? But that's all we can do, right? That's all we can do, and maybe sometimes that's the right thing to do because we allow the party or the organization to stay in. Imagine what they continue to do in the invisible, and we call it in the shadows. So I just want to open the show on that. We have this call on the line. They've been there for a little while, and we're going to see what they have to say. Go ahead, caller, if you're still there. They still there? I guess they're still... Caller, still there? I guess they, man. So, yeah, that's the topic right down. I see the Prime Minister of the country, let me say this. You have some MPs, right? Like MP Pia Global Role, who was doing an extremely good job in our department, She's been able to negotiate on the government's behalf, but also on the Prime Minister's behalf. And if you ask me what I would rate her, I would give her, honestly speaking, I'd give her with a 60. She can't get 70, even though that's my schoolmate at C.I. Walker. But I give her a 60 because she's making little strides, but she is not 80%, I think that as a junior minister or cabinet minister, she's doing a very extremely good job in the ministry that she commands. She's not cocky. She speaks well. She seems to me like a lot of people get along with her, besides the dispute that's going on with many unions in the country, which needs to be addressed. And I think government needs to be able to deal with these union issues before they explode. If we keep on these union issues every year and wasting the government's time, it's cheaper that the government say that we're going to have an industrial union strike, from this organization, from the teachers union, from the whatever union. So we need to deal with this within the second year of our governance. So in the first 6 months, we're going to sit down with all the unions and see what their problems are, and we're going to work it out. And if we can't work it out, we try to find some way If we can't do it this term, and if we're successful and winning the next election, we will put in legislation to make sure all the amendments will be fulfilled. This kind of stuff. But she is doing an extremely great job at her ministry's position. And like I said, she addresses the issues. She speaks to the general public. And I think that she is a good minister. As far as I'm concerned, if the residents should re-elect her as the MP for that constituency, it's up to them. In that constituency, it's up to them. And I'm going to also say this. It also reflects on the Prime Minister. All right? Everything reflects on the Prime Minister, reflects on the opposition leader. Because when we go to the polls, even though we're going to vote for Ms. Pia Global Role, even though she's doing an extremely good job, that's only one constituency. But the combined and Centerville, the Family Islands, and et cetera, and basically everyone votes for the Prime Minister. And then the next MP I want to talk about is MP Jumbo Campbell and the Centerville constituency. I don't know much about him, but I see that he is constructing a community center in the Gibbs Corner community to bring programs to that specific part of the community. Now, mind you now, the community is very big, but it's a step in the right direction. I think that it's a good step. I don't know, I'm seeing the development that is happening with, and it's a step to empower our community residents. And also, we need to understand something as well. However, these community centers, one thing, but the kids who come to the community center, as much they want it, even though it's free, they're not taking advantage of the opportunity of these centers, like they're coming in like they're half dead, and they only come to eat food and, play games and, and et cetera. Take advantage of the opportunity that the centers provide, because the sponsors and the scholarships and the education and the opportunity to start a small business is in your grasp. Parents, you're sending your kids to these community centers. It's not up to the staff at the center, which are freely provided to assist the kids on their homework, help them with their computer studies, whatever homework they have. The instructors and the teachers at the centers are there for the kids, but the kids have to make an interest. Get that laziness and understand that this is an opportunity for them to get in contact with people from around the Bahamas who have access to opportunity. Some people have businesses, some people have education, some people have funds, some people even want to adopt these kids and they take them to the next level. And that's what these centers provide. But there's a big problem in the country when it comes to our kids as well, because they are not properly home trained with the manners and respect. And when they go to these centers, they are putting the people who donating to help them, don't want to help, because the kids themselves seems to be like where they come from, the home that they come from, it's so broken that they bring that to the center and they have this, if the people trying to help them and say, well, this is A, and say, write a capital A, and you tell them a small A, they get offended and they want to curse and carry on, and so they have to get suspended. But there's other kids to replace them. So even though these centers are being curated, us as Bahamians, mothers and fathers and uncles and cousins and stuff like that, we need to teach our kids, because listen, some of these kids are stink. Honestly speaking, even when we building these centers, but that's what our country has come to at this point, an age where it's degraded. Even the people, and when we put help here, and we want to help, the people are so broken that when you tell them something that is positive, they take it as negative. And that's what our country has become in today's society. And I just want to encourage people that when these centers are built, remember these things are free. We have trainers, educators, teachers who would give their time. Some would be paid to teach your kids about the basic life. But the kids are coming there broken. We in some serious trouble. But nevertheless, we're going to have to continue to find alternative solutions, and these centers are the first step. And I hope that Mr. Campbell, before his tenure is up, I don't know if they're going to be successful within the next general election based on these corruption. But like I say, it's a good step in the right direction. In this community of Centerville, I think there needs to be about 4 centers, but one is a step in the right direction. I want to just give him a thumbs up. And I think I would like to give a shout out to Jamal Scrawn, the MP for Nassau Village. I was watching the other day, I think it was on the news and etc. And he was able to secure funds privately from around the country to build a community center across from the park in Nassau Village, along with Candia, who was doing an extremely great job in the Nassau Village area. Families of murdered victim, and she is doing such a tremendous job. She's also being able to secure some funds and sponsors to be able to construct a center in the Nassau Village. So they're going to have 2, one by Jamal Scrawn and one by Candia, and both of them are independently asking sponsors from the people, corporate Bahamas and citizens of the country to help create the dream of having the centers, because like I said, it's very difficult. Even when these centers go up, you're going to be dealing with some hard young people. Some going to be young guys who've been in Chris Manderson. We're by Lenahan, Bahamas now. And, I be listening to the conversation about the young people and hearing and seeing who's getting suspended. It's not because of the administration staff. It's because of the kids. The kids are broken, you understand? And even though they're providing everything free, scholarship, lunch, breakfast, if you need a sponsor, and they're getting all these opportunities, kids are stink, man. Some of them are stink, hardcore, rough and tough. So we have a long way to go in the country. So Jamal Scrawn, Candia, families from murdered victim, both on the same street. They're about 4 blocks away. I think with the right program, in that particular area, they could change the mindset about every year, about 100 to 200 youths that are growing up in that community to be able to have an opportunity to have a second chance at life. I think that is a great strategy for the community to have the community centers, like I said, because it's going to provide training opportunities, scholarships, and etc., counseling, which Candy is going to deal with. So I think that's a plus. So again, to Jamal Scrawn, I think that he's doing a tremendous job. I don't know if it's going to be enough to get re-elected, because like I said again, the Bahamian people are really mad based on the corruption that has spurred under the PLP administration. It could have started from the FNM administration or the PLP government before that, but it's been going on a long time. And like I said, there are fingers pointing now at this administration, but there should be fingers pointing at the former administration, because as far as we're concerned as Bahamian people, this has happened under the Board administration. You all have allowed officers of the Royal Bahamas Police Force and powers to be to do away with their activities and turn the blind eye. And we have heard it from the Commissioner of Police, who would be leaving office, I think, January 3rd or January 4th. And he would give an update on the investigation, corruption that is being investigated by ASP Johnson, who now is on paid leave, who still is getting paid, but he's not back in office, on corruption charges of him asking an alleged mastermind criminal who was now deceased for close to $100,000 to throw away the case so that no investigation is done, so that he can be freed for at least $100,000+. And charges like that, what the Prime Minister needs to understand is actually treason. So when that arises, there was supposed to be a full investigation in that matter. and to be aiming people who've been saying it for years and years where they ain't had no proof, but the proof is there because we could go back to Defense Force officers like former Lieutenant Lemuel Gibson. When the commission inquiry came up, they investigated him and they saw that he was bringing drugs for a certain known drug dealer in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, right? And then it was tied to many other Bannister who served time for it in Freeport, who was, I think, minister or some part of government, if I'm correct, or I could be wrong. But, it's a long time ago, but I can remember something like that, where he was the one who was the scapegoat in the whole commission of inquiry. But nevertheless, these things been happening from then. Corruption on the Royal Bahamas Police Force, not all officers, because I want to emphasize that there are many decent officers. But these decent officers I'm talking about, some are non-political. The police force, the defense force, they are political. Senior officers who you see to the top, some of them don't deserve to be senior officers on the Royal Bahamas Police Force. There are officers who don't have that position, should be commissioner of police, should be assistant commissioner of police, should be superintendent because of their seniority, because how they work their way up and they are 25 to 35, to 30 to 35 years to 40 years on the force. They work their way up based on their work ethic, their integrity. But because they're not politically inclined to the PLP or nothing, and they're overshadowed and they're pushed to the bottom. Could you imagine an officer who served 35 years, just imagine he's a 20-year officer, young officer who come in the force 10 years, 15 years. In 15 years now he's your boss. You don't think something wrong? Huh? You used to train him, teach him what he know. Now he is your boss next 5, 6 years. You think that's right? Now, unless this guy is an outstanding officer. But how could he outrank you? Because the force go with seniority, how much years you put in. Okay? Because I can remember a time when I was a bad boy, and I listen to people. When I told them I was a bad boy, I was a bad boy, right? I can remember a corporal used to run the station. And then an inspector would come in and check the station, but a corporal used to run the station, okay? Or a crown sergeant used to run the station. And that's how it was back in the day. Now you get running the station, along with must be 10 inspectors. So who's the boss here? What the sense of 10 inspectors in khaki uniform, man? If you ask this one some type of information or some type of help, he telling you got to go to my boss, who's the next inspector. And then when you go to him, he telling you, I can't help you got to go to this one. No, it don't work like that. I think we have given out too much position on the Royal Bahamas Police Force. I think we have destroyed the morals and the conduct of the Royal Bahamas Police Force because of political interference. We have denied officers who are good, decent officers who can do the job, can investigate a lot of these cases, know what the problem is, address the problem in his hot spot, but because now someone don't like them because they know that these guys are the right guys for the job, I don't like him. But let me go to my boss and, boy, if he come in power, watch this. And then when he come in power, that officer got to go to Pelican Bay. All right? Remember, people, our force has become political, and if we don't take political out of it, we're going to have corruption at its highest. All right? Trust me when I tell you this. Okay? We have to depoliticize the force. If we don't, okay, just look at Marvin Dames, and let's look at Assistant Commissioner Marvin Dames, and then we had Commissioner of Police Ellison Greenslade. Both of them went off to school. Both of them were a political party. And when one came back, one was chosen. And then when one became one's boss, when Ellison Greenslade became Marvin Dames' boss, he stayed on for a little while. Then he made, in the upcoming general election, I think 5 or 7 years later, and when he became the Minister of National Security, and then all of a sudden My boss, your boss, Marvin Name's boss was Green Slade because he was the head of the Royal Bahamas Police Force. Now he was second in command. Okay. When they went off to school to London and they came back with both same degrees, diplomas, both trained. And then they were chosen by a political party. And then when the F&M won the general election under Hubert, the former prime minister of the country, Hubert Alexander Minnis, Marwan Daines was made the Minister of National Security. Why do you think he was made Minister of National Security? You think that's by coincidence? So when he got Minister of National Security, there was talks in the air, and they stated that ain't nothing would happen to Ellison Green Slade, and that he would continue to do his jobs and he have no political interference, right? And that was said. In other words, I ain't getting all the words right, but that was said, and that's what the idea that was given. But yet still, after a while, you heard that Marwan Dames announced that Ellison Green Slade now would be ambassador of, I think, London, okay? And then, like I said, I think Green Slade served about 7, 8 years as commissioner. He was a very great commissioner. He went after road cops. It reached a point where he went after so much road cops that they start to talk to the Police Staff Association, about the matter. And then there was many threats made of police. And I guess, and he fired over 15, 16 officers for alleged corruption, alleged involved in criminal activities, and many more was going to go. And I guess this is one of the reasons he had to go. Because when you do the good thing, hey, you got to pick up between the lines, people. Pick up between the lines. I had to go. And then he's an ambassador, and up to this day, he still is an ambassador, which he is making twice the money. He's living like a king. He gets chauffeur, he get a police bodyguard. Must he get about $50,000, $60,000 a year for food, drinks, and chauffeur, living like a king. So, it's just the taxpayers' money, but he truly deserves it. And we have to look at these things, and that's how it goes. We look at Fernando. How you think he get there? Huh? How you think he get there? You really think he deserved to be commissioner of police? Which, not taking nothing from him. I'm not saying he's not qualified. We had Anthony Johnson. We had Ferguson. Anthony Ferguson. We had Paul Roll. Why all of them served 2 years? The longest serving commissioner of police was former commissioner of police and the late great B.K. Barnaby Sr. His son looked like he's still on the ball. His son looked like he still is on the force. Who was a good friend of mine. When I used to get locked up, B.K. Looked out for me many times. B.K. Barnaby Jr. I think he's an assistant superintendent. Very good officer. Many people might say he's not a good officer, but it's how you address some of these officers when you're in custody, and I also respectful to B.K. Barnaby Jr. I was always respectful Commissioner of Police, Douglas Anna, and I was also respect the Chief Inspector, Warry Sanders. I was also respectful to Basil Dane and God Johnson. When I was in custody, I was always manly to them. I also respected them, and for that, I was treated differently, and they personally dealt with me because I had respect for them. There are many guys who come in the station with crates and carry on. Guys were tough and rough. It was a serious thing. Because you was watching people get brutalized in the station and stuff. So a lot of us were rough and tough. So we were rough and tough in the station, and then the police had to rough you up. And sometimes guys fight the police and rough the police up. So you have some guys with their own station people, they don't play. I was one of those guys too, but I was respectful. We had other guys. When they're in the station, man, they mean business, man, because they were rough and very dangerous guys, because they grow up from nothing, They grow up. Some of these guys have been shot numerous times. Some have been to jail. These guys have had near-death experience. Police have shoot at them. Police have shot them up, and some of these guys were tougher than, lying and tougher than some of these guys. You understand? And that's how it was, And that's how the country was back in the day. And it just rubbed off to us now in this time. You're going to take a break? After you say now, we have to take a break? Okay, my producer saying we have to take a break. We're going to take this break. And we'll be right back. And more hot topic on Inside in the City on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM.
From Nassau, Bahamas, big up Dayton, bro. Where I from Dayton, bro.
You try to rest, roll with the best. For all your printing needs, there ain't no one better, no. For posters and banners, magazines and flyers, greeting cards and newsletters. No job too big and there's no job too small. You name it, we can print it. Just give us a call. Let Print Masters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located at the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
Always on the go? Missed a show? You can now listen to Guardian Radio talk shows anytime, anywhere on Spotify and YouTube by searching Guardian Radio 96.9 FM or by entering the name of your favorite show. You can also listen by logging on to GuardianTalkRadio.com and clicking on the podcast tab. Guardian Radio, continuing to provide you with fresh news and smart talk anywhere, anytime, all day.
La 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 la. La 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 la. La la la. I represent Bahamian people. I from Nassau, Bahamas.
We're back on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. That's our producer, Raleigh, in studios. He's been here from inception, also doing a great job. You normally I'm in Morning Blend and all the top shows in the country. We had Warren Miller here. He has been here with it from the inception. We give a shout out to him. Happy New Year to him and his family. Just finished his house, so that's a plus. We all, as Bahamian citizens, would like to have our own house. And like I said, we have 700 islands, 700 keys. And I think that some of these homes, some of these islands should be second and third homes for a lot of Bahamians in this country. I feel that we have a high population of close to about 200,000 to 300,000 people living in this small little 21 by 7 Nassau. If we could create housing projects, communities, along with small businesses, with hotels, that when guests come in and have a small business in that respective community in a specific design area where we have guests like what they're doing in Exuma. Imagine we do that to some of our key family islands like Cat Island, Abaco, Freeport again, Andres, build subdivisions, and in subdivisions you have many small business and the residents who will have an opportunity from Nassau, Bahamas, who are Bahamians, who have gone through the procedure could get a home for like $25,000 to $30,000. You have like about 200 homes separated in the community. Give it space. You don't want them too congested. You want one of 20, 30 feet. So you get a little backyard farm. We can spread it out. Then you add your little theaters, you add your small businesses, barber shops, whatever, convenience store, theaters, like I said, small business and ecotourism industry. Some could do small Airbnb. Some people could build little small restaurants and bar and et cetera, jet ski and et cetera. And have a lavish community based on the design of that community and give Bahamians living here an opportunity to say, let me go to Abaco. Let me see I can get one of these low-cost homes here and let me go move there. And then one could say, what? Let me go to Andres, and then this one say, let me go to Freeport, This one say, let me go to Lutra, because you have choices now. So instead of being congested, then we'd see a better Bahamas because that'd be economy there. It's something you could bring to the table even here to Nassau. And that's the kind of stuff we want from our government right now. We have to depopularize Nassau. Nassau is too Nassau-centric. We have beautiful islands so that was developed back in the 1950s, 60s, 70s with a lot of industries, and like a lot of businesses, like we could create farming, there's a lot of opportunities as far as creating factories on some of these family islands. At the same time, we could build small communities. Chester Cooper's doing it down there in Exuma, and Brave Davis is doing it down there in his constituency of Cat Island, you understand? And like I said, and the reason they have an advantage because they're the deputy prime minister and prime minister, they have access to all the government departments. So they're not going to be turned around. But for the junior ministers like Watson and Jomo Campbell and stuff like that who wants to do well, they don't have the access because the people who are part of the party, they don't like them or, so they have to be begging. Let me give you a prime example. Okay, just 3 months ago, we were having an event on the History Park. This is my final basketball tournament. I don't know if it's going to be my final. They're all saying that. But when people ask me, I still find a way to try and make something happen. Nate is taking over the podium as doing community activities. I am myself is going into the small business development and helping develop the area with a lot of small business for the residents in the area so that we can create an eco economy in that community so that we could have a sustainable economy to deal with the unemployment and the poverty in our community so that this will eventually take a course of itself and eventually eradicate our social issues as poverty, crime, and the dirt and filth that is being in our community. We would be able to deal with that now because we are being able to have an economy, and a lot of us as thinking business minded, our mindset has changed because of the training and the opportunities, and we will start to take care of ourselves and solve our problems ourselves in our respective our community. Yeah, so I want to, again, say the comments made by the Prime Minister, people are jealous of Chester Cooper because they feel that he should not be able to overshadow them and become the leader or the next Prime Minister after Brave Davis. They feel that it should be them. But let me tell you something, that's going to be the downfall, you guys, because right now, like I said, the PLP right now, let me tell you this. You can listen to the Scrooge generals all you want. All them guys out there, y'all giving contracts to, all the guys out there who are coming to you, telling you guys, y'all get this wrapped up. Let me tell y'all something, y'all should know Bahamian people, all right? Y'all should know. If this government going into this year, don't focus on the people and do the right decision as to give the Bahamian answers in Johnson, give us answers on Curtis, and be upfront with us, and then show us what the course of action, what you're going to do in the future to stop the corruption, and so that it never develops ever again on the Royal Bahamas Police Force. Because it's one thing to say we're going to deal with this, and just say we deal with it right now, and then we forget, and then we let them take shape again, and let the corruption again go on the Royal Bahamas Police Force, and then we'd have the only way we get exposed like this is because we got exposed by Johnson, but that was going to be cover up, okay? Because we had numerous incidents where we had ASPs and inspectors who holding district, means they holding divisions under their belt of being accused of corruption and being charged and locked up, but yet still we have not heard nothing from it. But just recently, where it's out the hand of the Bahamian authorities and the Bahamian politicians, where these guys were apprehended on U.S. soil and they are remanded in custody and they have an indictment, we are seeing change or some type of communication to admit that corruption was embedded in the Royal Bahamas Police Force. And then when the commissioner came out and said that means all this time he knew that there was corruption on the Royal Bahamas Police Force, and some of these officers being doing the most heinous set of crimes and involved in the most heinous set of crimes. And why is we out here on the Bahamian people saying something ain't right with this? This one gets shot on the bike and he blind, and this little boy in Mason, it's the family of my good friend Muff, and people state that he was the wrong suspect because the guy ran through the same shortcut wearing the same type of clothing, and the young guy was going to the store, and the police mistook him for the guy, and he panicked because, you're walking through a shortcut, you see someone run past, so you ain't paying no mind, but you know something up, and then when you see the police think it's you come walking through, and they lay him off it, because he panicked, he get out of the joint or whatever, he get even out of the gun. But he is not the suspect, but they are saying, and then everyone said the same thing, and they let him off it. And people had their witnesses were there, and they're saying this what happened. And in some cases, It the same sketchy, the 15-year-old boy by Seabreeze, you're shooting his back and his head. I mean, and then we had a few officers who got brought guilty by the Corners Court, and then they went to the DDP, the Attorney General's office, and now the Attorney General's office had given them the court date, and they're facing murder by manslaughter. So murder by manslaughter. So the Bahamian people being saying this all the time, right? We've been waiting to get a response of the powers to be, who's the Commissioner of Police, and he expects us to wait on the investigation to be done again by the Corners Court. And then we had a mix us up when he said that the Corners Court don't have no jurisdiction on certain things, and then the Attorney General office, this and that. So it was contradictory on our end, and what it leaves for us to think. That's why we saying to ourselves, boy, it is covering it up and ain't nothing can come out of this. You understand? So based on that, to the PLB government, people are going to judge you guys on that. They're going to judge you because the Prime Minister has failed to act. And people say, well, the Prime Minister and the Commissioner of Police, you guys are so fool and y'all don't know what's going on around the world. Who was appointing these Commissioner of Police? What you talking about? The Prime Minister in control of the Commissioner of Police. The Prime Minister control the Commandant of the Royal Bahamas Police Force. The Prime Minister control the Commissioner of Police. The Prime Minister controls the Chief Justice, even though we might not say he ain't control the Chief Justice behind closed door, he controls the Chief Justice. Because he called the Chief Justice and he asks for a favor. Unless the Chief Justice is a God-fearing man, he would deny the Prime Minister. Other than that, if he get appointed, he's a part of that party, or he's a part of the next party, but the Prime Minister, he boy on the FNM side. And the Prime Minister called for a favor, and if he have to go and do a favor for the Prime Minister, you think he ain't gonna do it? Huh? Who in charge of the Crown Land? Huh? No disrespect to Lincoln being them and the Coalition of Independence. They're a radical organization. They're speaking on some matters, but people all over the world are speaking on these matters. Some people ain't just as radical as you guys. Let me ask you a question. You see what happened to Lincoln Bean and the Coalition when they went out there on Carmichael Road. Let's be real now, people in your head. I mean, I ain't putting nothing in your mouth, but I can put something in your head. When they went on there and they say, this Crown Land, yes, the Bahamian people Crown Land. And you could go and apply to the land registry or wherever the place is, and you got a piece of land, all right? Remember that, right? And then I think it was first when Warren Miller was the Free National Movement, he speak on the land issue, and then now went on opposition. Then the government. Then when he got in the PLP, when he switched over to the PLP, he was in opposition, and then they got the government, and then he switched his tune. Then he got in the PLP, and he became the minister responsible for for the land or whatever the situation is, right? And you saw Lincoln being, he went on down. And he talked about, come down here, you used to be him in, and you could come in and grab this and that. So BMS started to go down there and listen to Lincoln Ben. Saying this Crown Land is our one. Right? Then we listen, people who been in the little 20 years and stuff like that, who was have no problem with authorities, right? When you look, all I see is the defense officers along with Warren Miller come voice. And he started to say, listen to word and people, listen to the word, and see how he's listening closely. I just listened to the word. He came on national TV and he said, the Crown Land of the Bahamas belongs to the government of the Bahamas. Okay? In other words, listen to what he's saying. We the Bahamian people say the Crown Land is our own, right? But we give the land, the Crown Land, to the MP that we vote for and we elect. He takes the leadership and ownership of the Crown Land when his government get elected. That's why they say the Crown Land of the Prime Minister. Just like how they said $1 billion is in the hands of the Prime Minister. Why? Why? Because we don't understand the law. The Prime Minister in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas has the first and last say in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. That was one of the reasons when we look at Bahama, Sarkis Aurelius, when Mr. Christie and all that stuff went down, you see the Bahamas was able to prevail because the Prime Minister trumps that. Even now we get overturning where soccer radius will be awarded millions of dollars on interest because the court has said that he was what? Wrongfully what? All right then. So the Prime Minister of the Commonwealth has the first and last say. All right? So when we vote, we give up our rights, and the MPs them represent us. That's why when Mr. Watson go to host of the assembly, he says, I, the representative of Bean and Grandstand. I, the representative of Centerville. So he's speaking for all of us. All right? When John Campbell goes on, he speaks for all the people of Centerville. He is Centerville. That one man, so the 40 or 30,000 people that lives in Centerville, that one man is Centerville. Mr. Watson, one man is the 30,000 or 40,000 people that resides in the Bean and Grandstand area. All right? The Prime Minister, combined together with all them, is the Prime Minister for all those that won their seat in the general election, even for the opposition. That's a serious. That's why Juan Miller was able to come and say, I listened to the word in. And he said, the government, he said the Crown Land belongs to the government. And then when you listen to the Crown Land, it's in the hands of the Prime Minister. And the Prime Minister gives the Crown Land to whoever wants the Crown Land. So when we talk about natural resources and all that stuff, let me tell y'all people something. Let me tell y'all something. The people who own these natural resources and these companies have been around in politics from the 1900s. I want y'all to one day just go walk, and when y'all walk inside Parliament, just look right there, like how the Guardian get 969. Just go in there, and then you'd see all of people like the Albanians, the Kellys, and all those people who have been in politics around the 1900s, right? They're the ones who own all of these companies from way back when. So you think now we're going to be able to get our natural resources when these agreements were signed from back in the day, and these natural resources that we so claim that is our own, when these companies have already signed contracts, right? Y'all got to be, don't let no one fool y'all, See, I just read and I know what's going on. Let me give you a prime example, and I get on this before I go to my next comment. You remember when Minnis came in power, and Minnis said that, he ain't going to tax the poor people, he's going after the rich people. So he made a statement that he's going to have to go after the people who life is key, right? Remember this? He said he's going to tax the rich and life is key. So he said that earlier that day, and a few hours later, there was this press conference where these lawyers representing various different companies from the Life of Key Association. And there must be about 30 lawyers, 30 or 40 lawyers, but there was one lawyer speaking for the lawyers from Life of Key, or these rich people that the Prime Minister referring to. He said he can increase taxes on them because he's the Prime Minister now, and he want to have the poor behaving people, and that he's not going to put more taxes on poor behaving people. What he's going to do now, he's going to go after these multi-millionaires and billionaires, and he's going to tax them. So, yeah, fine. The notion is good. The thought is good. So I listen. So I listened to the press conference from the people from the association, the top lawyer. So he said, we're going to boycott the Bahamas. We pay certain millions and millions of dollars in national insurance for over 1,000 plus companies that is a representation of these 20 or 30 lawyers sitting down here. And if the Prime Minister insists on taxing us, then we'd boycott the Bahamas. And he talked about the millions and millions they put in national insurance, put in the workforce, how much taxes they pay, and all that. That was 9 yards. So you're talking a couple $1 billion there, right? What he talk about right there, and they talk when they boycott, and so they talking about all the major companies. I don't know what it is. It could be Kelly's, it could be Del Benis, it could be McDonald's, Kentucky. I don't know, because these people have joint ventures and Swanks and Pizza Hut and Super Value, City Market, Hoffers and Sons, and all downtown. So when I listen to the Prime Minister in the next couple hours, listen, the former Prime Minister, the governor of the Bahamas, he all would say, there will be no taxes increases on the rich. But I can tell you where the taxes going to us. So yeah, that's how it is, people. That's how it is. So that's how it is. So I only waking you up and reminding you what's going on in our country. So again, I talk about Chester Cooper. There's infighting. They don't want Chester Cooper becomes the prime minister or be the opposition leader, because it looks a little shady right now for the PLP. They still could probably win the general election, but they're going to have to do a lot of work. They're going to pull together. They're going to do a shuffle. They're going to have to convince the Beam people that they're dealing with corruption. They're going to put mechanisms in place that it never happens again. And what mechanism are they going to put there? I would really like to know, because when I listened to the Commissioner of Police, outgoing Commissioner of Police, he said it was embedded in the Royal Bahamas Police Force, and he never stated this once when he was Commissioner. So the things that some officers was involved in on the Royal Bahamas Police Force, he needs to tell us before he leaves office. I'm seeing him saying Christmas Day, John Canoe, that, he would give an update, like he said that when he leave office, he's give an update on Johnson. But you also need to give us an update is, when you say embedded, you need to let us know. Okay, we're going to take this one call. We can take this one call, boss man. Good night. You're on Inside the Inner City.
Yeah, Scrooge. What's going on?
Yeah, I think blessed, brother.
Yeah, well, you're real, right? So I was listening to your show last week. I didn't call, and I heard a person saying, so no one calling in, but you don't have to call all the time. I listen all the time, Scrooge. And I don't want you to feel like your conversation is futile, but a lot of things I mentioned, I'll try to get this over quickly, right? Some key points, people like you and I be hitting on, of course, mechanisms in place, right? Multifaceted mechanisms, a whole lot, but discussions with people like you see where you talk about local government, right? Always talking about, let's say, a situation in Auckland, right? You saw something circulating on social media with an officer allegedly, even though it's on camera, doing what he's doing, right? So they said a plane fly over and this and that, and the people over there were complaining about this particular rogue officer for a while.
Mm-hmm.
The public, but nothing is being done. So it's the same thing like the people, active sheep crying wolf here in the capital, right? So there's no recourse. And then Mr. Monroe was on the airwaves the other day, and he was saying, I don't know who, I'll quote, say, well, some officer, I don't know who, from what staff association, whatever, saying that if the public don't trust us, then they shouldn't call us. Or they,
what?
Yeah, that's the said. I listen to me,
but it's a stupid
it's
fool.
on Going Guardian Archives, right?
Well, he's a stupid fool.
This is what I'm saying. Is I don't know, Scrooge, you heard it. But I'm just saying that. I'll let you talk. Let me let you say what you have to say, Scrooge.
He is a stupid fool because we are the taxpayer, but he is a civil servant. His job is to protect and serve. But all the scandals going on with the Royal Bahamas Police Force, now he getting offended. If he is not involved in none of these allegations going on in the Royal Bahamas Police Force, that he claims to be talking with integrity, honesty, and serving the general public,
yes.
The first thing he's supposed to understand is that if these allegations, which he knows is true, and trying to defend it, he's just like one of them right there. So he probably did some crap in his lifetime on the Royal Bahamas Police Force, and now that it gets scrutinized, he wants to feel that he could talk about, don't call the police. But listen, we pay as you guys.
He said that if they don't trust us,
we don't, how
So, but this is what
How can
someone was saying, some officer from whatever, the union or whatever, I'm just saying.
The hell with them. The hell with them. All them corrupt.
On it. Nobody decided to comment on it,
All them
So,
corrupt. They just officers
yeah.
who been, not saying cutting you off 52, they're just corrupt officers who been doing their thing now, and they hate to get exposed. That is one of the reasons why the police officers... Go ahead.
I want to expound the imbecility of such a narrative, right?
Go ahead.
Because you need the public to call to give information, so they say.
The public
right?
pays you. The
I never
public
called the
pays
police
you.
for nobody in my life.
The public pays you. All of us pays them.
No, but I'm saying this with me. I'm not that is not my business. They don't call the police on themselves, right? So what I'm saying is, they don't call the police on themselves because the public down in Auckland was complaining about this particular room officer. It's not until this particular video surfaced on WhatsApp. This is for everybody to see. It's looking at it, right? So we see what he did, but then yet still the public has been crying out about this person, but nothing, no mechanisms in place. You see, this goes on into the capital. I heard you give a little chronology. Lem was one of them famous fellas, but I had a brother who's on the defense force too. But what I'm saying is, we talk about the injustices in the city that you and I have seen. We can't say it on the radio. We talk about all the injustices that are taking place on the death of black in police custody, right? You know that. All right, let's look at Brad Taylor. Brad Taylor never reached the station. We have a human rights organization. You see the farce of such entities. They are selectively, what I'm saying is, even though Brad was accused of a heinous crime, so it wasn't allegedly with Brad. It was obviously it was him. Because he was like a cowboy days where he didn't get to go to court. He didn't even get to reach the station.
The police
nobody thought this was important, but I keep bringing it up. But yet still.
The police wasn't playing back in the 70s, 80s, 90s. The police would kill you dead on the spot, man. We all know this, man. This young generation know that.
Listen to this other thing there, Scoozy. I also mentioned the fact that they stop ambulance drivers or first responders from saving people's lives. They actually do that. Nobody thought to mention that and talk about that on the airwaves. This is why I'm sick of this country and sick of the airwaves, because we want to discuss what we want to discuss, but we don't want to discuss important things such as these.
Because that ain't happening.
My question to all of the educated imbeciles, right? Who gives the right to do the wrong? You can answer that. Not for you, Scrooge, but I'm saying who gives the right to do the wrong? So, this is Mystery Society, Mystery Babylon. I don't want to take over your show, my brother, but what I'm saying is, I hate to have discussions if it's not multifaceted and well thought of.
Yes.
So, you go deep also. Scoozy, when it comes to the inner city, there's no pity. They can't really teach me nothing about the inner city and the false narrative that they create of the integrity that they want. The opposite is saying that they don't trust us, then they shouldn't call us or whatever. So what that suggests.
This officer...
how do you expect to solve crime if it's not reciprocal?
Excuse my language. That officer's ass, man. Excuse my language. That's all it is, man.
Yeah, but he was allowed to say this and get away with this. I think he should be fired.
Yeah, she should.
He was calling for the Minister of National Security to be fired, right? But I'm not going to get personal.
Excuse my language, everyone. But that's what he is.
I know, some of me in family very well. So what I'm saying is, I'm not asking for anyone's resignation, but he shouldn't have said that. Because for me, as a man of the public, I listen to what type of mindset is this?
Yeah, man, Fred, these guys
so
from
you're
delusional.
Forcing integrity on the public. You're forcing us.
You still want us to believe despite all this we've been seeing over the years and people being saying what happened to their loved ones and something being right with the gun.
I got a joke for you, Scooty. But I was wondering when we can start counting the good apples. Because there's a bad apple showed up in Auckland the other day. And apples are showing up all over. And so we need to know the good apples now because I'm becoming afraid.
Yeah,
and so the situation in Auckland shows why they don't want a camera. When I told the people to put camera in their hands on your show a couple of times and on the radio, people laugh. But, people like you and I, we really can't work with people, because you know what happens? You're a coward, you're a weakling. But what I'm saying is I say things not to be heard on the radio, but to show people the farce of the narratives that they're portraying to us. Everything is about profiling, whereby I want a uniform, and you are infallible, and
you're right.
But deep down inside, if the truth be revealed, we will lose respect for a lot of people, But I am not the one, me, who swore up whole law and integrity and way, because I'm not going to be reciprocal with them because they're not reciprocal with us. But if you have a Freedom of Information Act right now, and you go back in retrospect, let's say we go back from the 60s, and you look at all the records of the insubordinations and injustices and illegal activity by police officers in the complaint, you'll be surprised to know what's going on. Much less to talk about the lack of... you see the people come with this new torture law now. They know why they implemented that, You said it last week, where innocent, even if they're guilty, because they were tortured. This is a mechanism they use to say, well, force confession. And this is something that's going on rampant back in the days when we was growing up, Scoozy. You know that.
Yes.
I line up and listen, Scoozy. But we got to get together.
Yes,
we
sir.
got to air out this BS, man.
Yeah. Thank you for a comment. I mean, sorry my language. Sorry my language just now. I just apologize. We take a break. I'll be right back with Inside in the City on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM.
Where I from Dayton, bro.
For fast, reliable, and impactful printing services, look no further. Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life. We stand by our quality products that is second to none. Our affordable pricing and friendly, efficient staff makes Printmasters the ultimate choice for all your printing needs. We can deliver any type of printing services, from banners to booklets to business cards. You name it, we can print it.
Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
Beulah gal, can you believe this? We are now the patrol queens of the neighborhood.
We now large and in charge, so we need to check out what's going on in everybody's yard. What about that gun that we know that Junior and his homeboys just ran out? Can we report that too?
Of course we can.
But we could be in deep trouble if they find out.
We need to report what we see, Beulah. When you call Crime Stoppers, they just answer your call in Miami.
So then we can report everything? Guns, where they hiding the drugs, who shoot who part of which gang, or who disturbing the peace with the loud music and the motorcycles.
Then our neighborhood will be the best in the Bahamas, and everybody gonna want to come live here. And then our house price will go up, gal.
So what we waiting on? What's the number?
If you see something, say something. Let us all pitch in and stop the crime before it's your time. Call 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands. Or text us through the Crack Crime Bahamas app. Stop the crime before it's your time.
La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. I represent Bahamian people.
We're back on Inside in the City on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. My name is Valentino Brown, a.k.a. Scoochie, Scrooge, MP, JP, Governor, host of the talk show Inside in the City that airs every Friday at 6:30 to 8 p.m. And we cover a wide variety of topics. And one thing with us on the show, we are not afraid to talk, and I'm not afraid to say what I have to say. I might be little aggressive, little time and again, because I know that some things that I just can't stand when we have people who make comments like that. If the Bahamian people don't trust the police, don't call them. What you mean don't call y'all, buddy? People still call y'all every day. People still trust the police. It's just that the overall aspect of what's going on with the force when it comes to certain important matters, people would not trust the police. We can't say which police or, which department. No, it's because so much scandals are being surfaced lately and has come to light that people are skeptical. But right now, as we speak, there's someone on the phone right now saying there's a car that looks fishy, or there's someone walking around in my yard, or there's a break-in, or someone is running a red light, or someone is making a complaint against somebody, and they're still confiding in the police. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking with a fact about the national issues that is plaguing the country when it comes to some of the murders by police, when it comes to the drug allocations, and then when it comes to the corruption by what the commissioner said. And if this officer was to say things like that, then he ain't listening to none of these things that transpired on the Royal Bahamas Police Force. So it seems to me that where he's so stuck in his corruption force, he hates to see certain officers because now it takes away their privilege and their power. Now, because it could be questioned now. One time ago, it wouldn't be in question. It means you could get away with anything because we are brothers in arms. How many officers do you see testify against the next officer? So the force is completely clean slate. So we had how much officers in the last, 30, 40 years? Just say the force has had, 2,000 plus people for over, 50 years. right? How much officers? What, 100,000, 120,000, 200,000 officers? Just say 100,000, 200,000 officers gone, right? On and off the force. Do you think all of them is innocent? Do you think all of them have not never breaking the law? Just think about it. Just think about it. Since it's so perfect. Do you think we had over 100,000+ police officers on the Royal Bahamas Police Force? And we look at the rate of officers being dismissed and being charged with serious offenses and being charged with criminal offenses less than 1%. So you believe that all the officers that comes to the force are innocent and have done nothing wrong on the force? It has not come to light. It's in the shadows, like the Prime Minister stated. It's because it's a fraternity and they turn the cheek. And now the corruption has just overwhelmed the organization, just like in politics, and just like the church, when you start to attack the wrongness, like what this officer is trying to defend when 52 is referring to. And that's what's happening right now. Call every day. You could call back. Caller, you're on Inside in the City.
Hey, Scrooge, good evening. I trust all is well.
Yes, sir.
Belated Merry. Scrooge, it is always, sometimes it's very difficult to follow 52 with his commentary because 52 and I basically were trained under the same concepts. We believe in a lot of the same things. Our home upbringing and everything seems to be similar, and sometimes, we try our best not to repeat the same things that have already been spoken. But let me put a couple of things in the atmosphere right now. There are some of us who, although not perfect, we don't like what we see going on in our country. Now, I know it seemed to be fair game to pick on the Royal Bahamas Police Force at this time, especially with the level of scandals that have recently come to light for a whole lot of persons. Not saying that they haven't been going on for quite some time. Let me point out another example, and then I'll move on to something even more crucial than the police force, saying that they are supposed to be the law protectors to secure all of us. Whatever happened to the incident that, you remember some time ago, it showed where officers were riding in a police vehicle on duty and consuming alcohol. But yet the average driver on the street cannot do that. Whatever happened to that case or that matter when they were exposed for that? It seems to be, as I heard many persons say, that is a normal thing for them to do, but it should not be a normal thing, because if you're on duty, you're talking about firing a weapon at someone. If you're half cut, as we would say, and you shot and killed someone being half cut, then what happens to a whole lot of those cases?
Not saying cut you off. Let me just comment real quick. You remember the scene on Carmichael Road where we saw those officers just recently with the young gentleman named Barry up? Must he 30-something or 40-something time from 3 officers? Yeah. Where they was? By a bar, right? Okay. So what if them officers, like what you inside now, was under the influence of alcohol, but their blood levels were never tested? Okay. Go ahead. So now you could go ahead.
Okay, so that is only one classic scenario as far as the law protectors are being in violation of a code that they should not have violated. Yes. But I'm going to step it up even a bit further. What about the so-called politicians who are supposed to be the lawmakers, who are also engaged in a lot of illegal or illicit things, but yet we are afraid to call them out because who they are and the type of influence that they have in our society? Isn't that also not wrong?
It's very wrong, and that's why we're deteriorating right now to the state we're in right now.
Now you understand where I'm going with this. So now you expect the average citizen out here to abide by the law, toe the line, do not cross any impropriety or anything. You expect the average person out here to do it, but yet the ones who make the laws, those who amend the laws, those who push the laws, and they're the ones who are breaking the laws, and then they expect us to keep the laws. It's just a bunch of foolishness. So in essence, what I'm saying is exactly the way our society is today is a total reflection
Up to the top.
of the leadership
Yes, sir.
of what this country represents.
Yes.
Because if we are afraid to investigate, and this is the part that gets a lot of Bahamians, we know
Yes.
about a lot of things, even though we may not have
The evidence.
physical evidence.
But we have, yes, sir, go ahead.
But we have a discernment
Yeah, we have
to see that
to say
these people are
something
doing
ain't right.
wrong.
Something ain't right. And
Okay?
we say
and
it.
we know they're doing wrong.
And we say
we
it.
are afraid to call them out. We're afraid to call them and put them before the courts. We're afraid to seize their assets, even right down to the politicians in Parliament right now who have not declared their assets. They are also in contravention of the law,
Yes.
but yet the law seems to be blind to them where they have not been called.
Yeah.
When are we going to fix this country? See, it starts from leadership.
Yes.
And if we do not fix leadership, and if we do not frighten leadership into doing the right thing, then how can you frighten society to do the right thing? So, in essence, then in closing, you see, all of this is a domino effect. Our
sir.
society would not get
Yes,
any better
yes.
until the leadership of this country is better. When it cannot, what it says, it cannot be seen to be done, but it must be done. This we are, as a people in this country, have to get serious about fixing this
Farmers.
country. Me, for one, I do not like where our country is. In fact,
No.
I'll close on this point. We have not progressed as a people in this country.
No.
We have regressed
Yes.
as a people in this country. I'll close my comments there and clear the airwaves for somebody else to call in who see things for what they truly are and not what people painting it for us to think that's what it is.
Well, caller, you summoned right up because remember I said earlier about the young kids going to the center. Everything is free, right? Everything is free. All they got to do is come sit down, listen, and they could get something to eat. If they need a tennis, they need a phone, they could get this. All is free. And the kids get stinking attitude. And it's all because of what the caller that he's talking about. The politicians supposed to share to the Bahamas on how much they earn. Right? And many of them decline. But this isn't law. But the Prime Minister, and even though the opposition is doing a great job, they themselves is allowing the law to be broke. So even if we was to vote in Michael Pentard and the Free National Movement, they still, somehow, it's going to avoid certain matters of importance because they themselves are part of the system. So it's up to us as a society and callers and people out there when 52 said, we keep on saying the thing over and over. But the things we saying over and over, it's a solution for the country and it's the problem for the country. Because the solution is the same. Empowerment, second chance, opportunities, housing, crime. So what we're talking about is actually solutions. And the caller couldn't do it no better way than how he explained it just now. Because that's what society has come to. Even the kids nowadays, where the poverty level and the stupidity, selfishness, and the black crop syndromes in our kids now, and we have to start on changing their mindset because they look at the leaders in this country, the church leaders and the police and government, and they see that the people at the top are lying. And the kids them saying the same things. So that's what it is. Caller, we completely out of time. I wonder if you get us one call. Real quick, caller, you can make it quick. Completely out of time. Let's see if the producer get it. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry for calling, but this is very important. This is really nothing to do with black people. What happens, Scrooge? Experiments done with rodents. When you overcrowd a place or any compartmentalized and you have overpopulated people, people would tend to disrespect one another, to be hatred, jealousy, what you call the crab syndrome.
Yes.
You would have noticed that if you was on the island, when you see people on the island, they don't pass you. There's always glad and you see
Yes.
them because you so much of together. We hate one another. It's all it's behavior. The behaviorists knew this a long time ago.
Yes.
They knew this a long time ago. They can prove it to you.
Thank you. Like I said, I feel that I'm going to close on this. I feel that we have to depopulate Nassau. We get close to over 300,000 people in this land. We have to find a way to see how we get 150 to 200,000 people to go to develop communities with the MPs that represent the government and opposition. Has a plan to develop that particular community with hospital, with housing projects, with farms, to benefit off the tourism industry, which is going to be the hotel, to go into A and B, and then allow the community residents to pick on a low-cost home that costs under $35,000, which you could pay back in about 15 years. I think that is the way we need to go, as long as also fighting for what's right in the country, because nowadays we are seeing if you do wrong, like the police is doing wrong and the government is doing wrong, we seeing a member of parliament who was a senior parliamentarian who was done over 35 years, 45 years, the Honorable Fred Mitchell, who was the chairman of the PLP, defending what is wrong. And then we have the person who 52 talked about, who was a police staff association member, speaking on the fact that if the BMN people don't trust the police, what? And when we see all allegation, which is true, and you expect us to trust the police, we do trust the police, it's just that certain things we don't trust the police in. Okay. We're completely out of time. We'll see you next week on Garden Radio 96.9 FM. Enjoy the weekend, people. Enjoy. Valentino Brand, a.k.a. Scrooge, hanging out. My producer, Raleigh, thank you very much.
I represent billion people. I from Nassau, Bahamas, big up in town, bro.